2,000 years ago, farmers buried a clay pot in the ground, filled it with water, and walked away. It watered their crops automatically using nothing but physics. No pumps, no pipes, no electricity. It saved up to 90% of the water used by every method that came after it. Today, you cannot find one in a single hardware store in America, but you can find 40 feet of plastic drip tubing for $20. Why did the oldest irrigation system on Earth get buried twice, once in the soil and once in history? Most of what you're about to hear has been buried for decades. If this changes how you think about your garden, make sure you subscribe to the channel so the next one reaches you too. In the 1st century BC, a government official named Fan Shengji wrote what may be the world's oldest surviving manual on farming. In the pages of the Fan Shengqi Shu, he laid out instructions for battling drought in the fields of northern China. Bury unglazed clay jars near the roots of crops. Fill each with water, and let the earth do the rest. The text called for hundreds of these jars, about 530 per hectare, each holding 6 liters, meticulously spaced to stretch every drop across the dry soil. There were no pumps, no timers, no guesswork. Just physics and patience. What's remarkable is that this idea didn't stay in China. Across continents, ancient farmers found the same solution. Archaeologists have uncovered porous pots buried in the fields of Mesopotamia, North Africa, India, and Iran. In the deserts of the American Southwest, the Hohokam people used similar vessels to keep maize alive under relentless sun. The Romans called it an olla, a word that traveled through their empire. In Celtic Gaul, the god Sucellus was often shown carrying a pot, a symbol of abundance and the promise of water. The simple clay jar was never just a tool. It was a thread running through the world's oldest farming cultures, quietly sustaining life where rain failed to fall. Buried beneath the surface, the unglazed clay pot becomes something more than a container. Its secret lies in the microscopic pores, each just a fraction of the width of a human hair, between 0.1 and 10 microns wide. These invisible channels let water seep out, but only when the soil demands it. Dry earth pulls water from the pot, molecule by molecule, creating a silent tug-of-war powered by physics alone. As soon as the soil is moist enough, what farmers call field capacity, the flow stops, no matter how much water remains inside. There is no waste, no runoff, no guesswork. The olla reads the soil's thirst in real time, acting like a self-regulating computer that never needs batteries or code. Over days and weeks, plant roots sense the steady moisture and cluster tightly around the pot, weaving a dense mat that draws water directly from the clay. The result is a living circuit, the pot, the soil, and the roots, all tuned to the rhythm of need and supply. This is not a relic of the past. It is a quietly brilliant machine, hiding in plain sight, waiting for rediscovery. Peer-reviewed studies have measured what ancient farmers already knew by instinct. In 2001, a trial published in Agricultural Water Management found that crops grown with buried clay pots used just 10% of the water needed for surface irrigation. That's a 90% reduction, without sacrificing yield. In 2013, a field experiment in Kenya compared ollas to furrow irrigation for maize and tomatoes. The results were staggering. 97% less water, with healthier plants and fewer fungal problems. In India, melon growers harvested 25 tons per hectare using only 2 centimeters of water with ollas. The same fields, when flooded the conventional way, consumed 13 times more water and produced just 8 more tons. Weed pressure also plummeted, 62 kilograms per hectare with Ollas, compared to 465 kilograms per hectare with ordinary irrigation. These numbers are not outliers. They are repeated across climates and crops. If you are starting to see why this story matters, drop a like and subscribe to the channel so more gardeners find it before their next trip to the hardware store. In 1959, an Israeli engineer named Simcha Blas noticed something odd in the Negev desert, a tree thriving where no others could survive. At its roots, a buried pipe had sprung a tiny leak. Instead of flooding the ground, water seeped slowly into the soil, feeding the tree drop by drop. Blas saw the potential for a new kind of irrigation, one that could mimic the buried clay pots of ancient farmers, but on a scale fit for the modern world. The key difference was plastic. Cheap, flexible polyethylene tubing had just become widely available, opening the door to mass-produced drip systems that could snake across entire fields. Blas partnered with Kibbutz Hatzarim, and by 1965, their company Netafim was selling the first commercial drip irrigation kits. The promise was seductive: tubes, emitters, and filters that could deliver water precisely to each plant, at the twist of a valve. But every part was meant to be replaced. Emitters clogged, tubing cracked in the sun, filters needed constant cleaning. Unlike a clay pot that could last for years in the ground, these plastic systems thrived on disposability. The logic was simple: make it easy to install, easy to replace, and easy to buy again. As drip irrigation spread, the humble Olla faded from view, quietly pushed aside by a technology built for scale and profit. Plastic irrigation is now a global business, measured in billions. In 2024, the drip irrigation market alone is worth $7 billion, with growth projections that double that figure by the end of the decade. But the true scale is measured not just in profit, but in plastic. Every year, agriculture pours 12.5 million tons of plastics into fields, pipes, emitters, and above all, plastic mulch. These thin sheets of polyethylene stretch across more than 25 million acres, trapping moisture but leaving behind a legacy of waste that does not break down. As these plastics age, they fragment into microplastics, invisible to the naked eye but persistent in the soil. Studies from China and Europe show that after decades of plastic use, soils lose up to 30% of their moisture retention. Microbial life declines, earthworms disappear, and crop yields begin to slip. The cycle is self-reinforcing. As soils degrade, farmers reach for even more plastic solutions, feeding an industry that profits from disposability. This is not just a matter of convenience or efficiency. It is a system that trades longevity for turnover, replacing the patience of clay with the churn of petrochemicals. The plastic industry thrives on replacement, on the promise that every cracked emitter and sun-brittle pipe is another sale. The cost is hidden, but it is everywhere, in the soil, in the water, and in the food that grows from it. Bill Mollison, the founder of Permaculture, once called the clay pot the most efficient irrigation system in the world. He was not speaking in theory. He was echoing what modern field tests have confirmed again and again. In recent trials by Thirsty Earth, gravity-fed Ollas used 61% less water than typical plastic drip lines and over 80% less than sprinklers or hand watering. The numbers are not just impressive, they are visible in the soil itself. When researchers excavate a garden bed after a season, they find roots clustered thick around the buried pot, forming a living mat that draws every drop directly from the clay. The soil stays moist exactly where it matters, while the surface remains dry, cutting weeds and blocking fungal problems before they start. These are not just laboratory results. Permaculture gardeners from Arizona to Zimbabwe have replaced cracked plastic tubing with clay pots and watched their water bills plummet. The message is simple: you are not alone in wanting something better. Across continents and climates, people are rediscovering a tool that delivers more with less and leaves nothing behind but healthier soil. Anyone can put this ancient system to work. No special tools or expensive kits required. A single commercial olla costs between $15 and $40, and one pot will keep a 3-foot circle of soil watered for up to a week, even in summer heat. For a small raised bed, 5 pots can cover about 100 square feet, cutting water use to a trickle and freeing you from daily chores. But you do not have to buy anything if you do not want to. With 2 unglazed terracotta pots from any garden center, a bead of food-safe silicone, and 10 minutes of your time, you can build a do-it-yourself olla at home. Seal the bottoms together, leave the top open as a fill hole, and bury the pot up to its neck beside your plants. Fill it with water, cap it with a tile or saucer, and let the soil take what it needs. No pumps, no timers, no plastic waste. When the pot finally cracks years down the line, it simply returns to the earth, leaving no trace but richer soil and a smaller water bill. Every year, plastic irrigation adds over 3 million tons of waste to our soil. Yet a buried clay pot can still outthink a drip line. No wires, no toxins, just physics and patience. The future of water might look a lot like its past. If you found this fascinating, click the subscribe button for more stories like this.